Yes, indeed. It is called Lothric, where the transitory lands of the Lords of Cinder converge. In venturing north, the pilgrims discover the truth of the old words. The fire fades, and the lords go without thrones. When the link of fire is threatened, the bell tolls, unearthing the old lords of Cinder from their graves. Aldrich, saint of the deep, Farron's undead legion, the Abyss Watchers. And the reclusive lord of the profaned capital. Yon the giant. Only in truth, the lords will abandon their thrones. And the unkindled will rise. Nameless, accursed undead, unfit even to be cinder. And so it is that ash seeketh embers.
Alright, hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Wayman Gaming. I'm going to be doing a Dark Souls 3 playthrough, obviously. I'm going to be doing a DEX build. I've been through the game a couple of times so far, and I think that I can really show you guys some of the good items that I found throughout it, good ways to go about certain bosses, pretty much just, I guess, tips and tricks to the game itself. So, like I said, I'm doing a DEX build. So for the starting class, honestly, the Mercenary would be the best one. For a Burial Gift, I think on anyone it's going to be the Life Ring. Just because everything else, it's really not... Like, pretty much everything else you get throughout the game, you get multiples of all of it. So the Divine Blessing, like it says, restores HP. Hidden Blessing restores FP. FP in this game is new to any of the Soul series games. This is pretty much a magic bar. So whenever you cast a spell, it's going to be using part of your FP, and then whenever you are using any kind of sword art, which is also new to this game, you're going to be using FP. Now with every single weapon, even the shields, there's going to be a sort of sword art or more of a ability for each one, and that differs depending on the weapon or the shield or anything like that. Black fire bombs. If you play any of the Souls games, it's just a throwable object. I think it does dark damage instead of regular fire damage. Fire gem, you use that to infuse your weapon with fire. If I'm not mistaken, you can do that. You can use fire. I think the other one's blessed, and there's one more you can do right off the game or right off the start of the game. There are other. There's coals in this game that you can give to the blacksmith, and then from there you can change the different kinds of infusions. I think there's up to, I want to say around 12 infusions you can do. The Sovereignless Soul is just to acquire souls right off the bat, which is probably not the best. Rusted Gold Coin increases your item discovery, which also scales with your luck. So the more luck you have, the better item discovery you have. So if you're trying to farm something out, you might want to put some points into luck. Try to get that through. Cracked Red Orb is for invading. Young White Branch is to transform into any object that's around you, just so you can blend into your environment. I guess it's pretty good if you are getting invaded and you're just trying to hide and see if they either go away or try to take them by surprise. So we're gonna go ahead, and everything looks good right now. So get that life ring. Let's go ahead and do this. So everything looks good. We're just gonna be super default. And go ahead and get into it. So with this starting class, you're going to start off with a regular wooden shield. I'm pretty sure the physical defense reduction, or the physical damage reduction, is not at 100%. We can go ahead and check that out right after this cutscene. But the weapon you start off with is going to be dual scimitars. Now, in Dark Souls 2, they put in a mechanic that was a power stance, which means if you had, I think it's 1.5 times the amount for like the skill requirements, then you could power stance that item. So like let's say you had 2 weapons that each required 10 strength and 10 dexterity. Now if you had 15 dex and 15 strength, then you could hold Y, which usually, like in this game, it will two-hand your secondary. Instead, it power stanced them, which means you were dual wielding them, and they had the move set that took on the offhand weapon. So now in this game, there is none of that. There's going to be specific weapons that are specifically dual wielding. So the Sellsword Twin Blades are one of them. Now there's daggers, there's maces, there's spears that all have that ability as well. So let's go ahead and look at our items real quick. With the Sellsword Twin Blades, we can dual wield these. They have a C dex scaling, and then they also have E in strength, which really isn't too bad off the bat. And then we have the wooden shield, which has 57% physical reduction, 66 magic. Fire, Lightning, Dark, they're all pretty bad abilities. 57, which isn't terrible. And has a D in strength. You need 8 strength to wield it. And one thing that's also in this game that wasn't in any of the other games is that you cannot upgrade your armor with Titanite shards or anything at all. So the only things you can upgrade in this game are going to be any kind of weapons or shields. Now, I'm not sure exactly why they would do that. I think it really is because in this game, Titanite shards, maybe not shards specifically, but upgrade materials are a bit harder to come by, and it's also more pricey to upgrade your weapons and stuff. So what I just picked up was the Ashen Estus flask. Now this is also new to the Soul series. So this is a blue flask. Now this one specifically restores FP. Now as you can see, I have 3 uses in the Estus, 1 in the Ashen, and so soon in the game we're going to be able to allot Estus flask uses. So I can have I have a total of 4 uses, right? 3 in the Estus, 1 in the Ashen. Now I can make it 4 in Estus, 0 in Ashen. I can have 2 in each. I can have 1 in Estus and 3 in Ashen. It doesn't matter as long as I'm within that 4. I can allot them between the two, and it doesn't really matter which one has however many. Now, it all just depends on either the build you're using, the weapons that you're using, because for some weapons, you're going to want to use their sword arts. So, let me go ahead and take this guy out, and also the guy over here real quick, and I can go ahead and show you the sword art for this one. So, as you're seeing, I am dual wielding this. Now, you start off like this, and if you press Y or triangle on PS4, you're going to two-hand your primary weapon, which is going to be in your right hand. Now, since this is a dual wielding sword, you're going to have both the swords out. Normally, the sword's just on your waist, but press Y or press triangle, and you're going to be dual wielding swords. Now, using the right bumper or the right trigger, they're going to be light and power attacks for just that right hand. Now, if you're using the left bumper, you're going to be attacking with both. And then left trigger, also attacking with both. So, and one thing with that is with the left trigger, as you can see when you look at the blue bar, it does go down a little. So that's technically my sword art. Now, with anything that spins, for the most part, you're going to be able to extend the length of it by using right trigger, which I think uses either 2 or 3 times as much of your FP. So that's how you extend those. For the most part, you're just going to be using the attack on damage, and as long as you have part of that bar, you're going to be able to do that. So up here is a very difficult enemy for being right off the bat. This is one of the crystal lizards. Now I find it hard on this type of character to do this. Oh crap, that was close. Just because you don't really do too much damage. Now, one of the easier classes to do this with is the knight. Just because, in my opinion, that sword is much better than this one. And also your shield has a 100% physical reduction for damage. And this is just physical damage that's doing. I actually don't think I can beat this right now, so I'm going to go ahead and grab the item and dip out. So, now, killing any of these lizards, they're always going to give you Titanite scales, which, if you played Dark Souls 2, it's similar to Twinkling Titanite, or, I think it was Dragon Bone is the exact equivalent, because there is Twinkling Titanite in this game, and it is just as hard to find as Dark Souls 2. Now, one thing about upgrading weapons in this game is Titanite Shard is, I think, from +1 to +3. Large is from +4 to, so that's 4 +5 +6. Chunks are 7, 8, 9, and slabs for any and every weapon is going to be to +10. So, unlike in other Souls games where if it's going to take Twinkling Titanite to level it up, it's going to take that all the way up to, for those weapons, it's going to be until +5. But in this game, Twinkling Titanite is just going to take it up to +4. So, you're always going to need a slab, which I think there are, I don't know exactly how many per playthrough, but there's really not many at all. So it's very limiting to how much, or as to which weapons, or how many weapons you can upgrade to their maximum potential. So over here, like I said, I'm going to be showing you where items are that you might not have seen otherwise. Hopefully, I won't miss any. I shouldn't, but there's always that chance. And if you guys have any questions at all, remember to put them down in the comments below, and I will answer any comments you guys have or any questions. And if you have any comments of how I can improve this at all or anything, just let me know, and I will gladly try and make a bit of a change. So this is going to be our first boss, DEX Gundyr. If I'm not mistaken, DEX is, I know it's Italian, but I don't know what it means at all. And he's really a really good, what's the word? I guess elementary boss. He can be parried. He has pretty much everything that you're gonna need to know for really introducing you into the game. So he can be parried. His attacks aren't too fast. He also can be blocked. You can circle around him. He has range. Well, like I said, he's really good for an intro boss, and he has everything that you would pretty much need to know about any kind of Souls game, or about really any of these bosses that we're going to be facing. So for the most part, like I said, you can parry, but I'm just going to be non-stop attacking. And that was it. And this is the only boss that you do not get a boss soul from right off the bat. So right now we just got Ember restored. Every time you beat a boss, or whenever you kill an invader, or whenever you invade yourself, you're going to get an Ember restored. Now what that does is it increases your maximum health slightly. I don't know if it's percentage based or not. I think it is, but I'm not 100% certain. So it does increase your maximum health. It also makes it so you can be invaded. So while you're not embered, you cannot be invaded. So if there's ever a point in the game, and there are a couple points where people just keep invading you, you're gonna have to make sure you're not embered so that you can get through that part without being invaded. The good thing about that is with the whole Ember thing, it is easier for the host to live, because right off the bat you do have more health than the invader. So they did kind of help us out in terms of that, so that it's not completely unfair whenever someone ganks you. Alright, so up here we're going to be approaching really the first major area of the game. Or I guess after I get wrecked by these guys. So, let's see, I know there's an item over here on this side. And one of the enemies that we're going to be finding over here is the dog, and that's one of the common enemy in any Dark Souls game. And the best way to deal with those guys, if you have any kind of fire, as soon as you hit them with the fire, either with a fire or chaos infused weapon, with a torch, with pyromancy spells, anything like that, they're going to be they're gonna like roll around pretty much for a little bit, and so they can't really move or anything. And that's a good time to get in that second hit to, I guess, keep them down. So here is the east-west shield. Before I go into that, and the reason I'm not really worried about these guys when they hit me is just because they don't really do that much damage at all. Especially when I'm just wearing regular armor. One thing about armor in this game, they did change it from other games, is if you, like the way that they calculate your defense, if you're wearing, like, let's say you want to wear like a new chest piece you found, but it's too heavy, so that you don't have the quick roll. Most people will be like, oh, I'll just take off whatever I have on my hands or whatever I have on my feet, just so I look cool and I can roll and it's all fine. But the thing is, if you don't have anything equipped on any part of your body, they're going to be doing a lot more damage to you. Like I said, that's just a new way they calculate damage in this game. I'm not sure why they do it, but it is a good way to make sure you are wearing armor at all times. And one thing that I just slightly mentioned was with the fast roll. So at the top right, you're going to see the equip load and the weight ratio. So luckily in this game, it does tell us the percentage right off the bat. We're at 54.4% for our equipment load. So we want to stay below 70%. Now, I don't think I have anything that'll get me to 70%. No, not right now. But that'll give me a much slower roll. And usually you're never going to want that unless you're just toting a shield with the 100% physical reduction and you just want to be very immobile, but you're just going to be a tank pretty much. But you always want to keep it, at least I prefer to have it under 70% at all times. So let's check out this new shield we got. It is worse in physical reduction, better in magic, better in fire, lightning, and dark by a substantial amount. It does less damage, but damage you never really want to have to worry about. Now the only time you want to worry about damage is when you're looking at great shields. So, but like I said, it's not a big deal. So when I go into this, I just hit X, I hit show item info, and the skill here is parry for both of these shields. Now for every item, it's going to give you the skill. So like we saw earlier, for the Cell Sword Twin Blades, it was my spin slash. So it says slice into foes with large spinning motion and continue spinning to transition into a strong attack. So like I said, you hit left trigger and then you hit right trigger. Now for the broken straight sword we picked up earlier, the skill is stance. So while in stance, use normal attack to break a foe's guard from below, and strong attack to slash upwards with a forward lunge. Only neither move will appear very impressive with a broken sword. So that last part, I have actually never read that. That's just for this sword specifically, just because, it is a broken sword. There's no range with it. It's not really going to be very effective with it. So right up here is where we are going to get our first DEX weapon. I don't know if I can actually beat him right off the bat, but I definitely will try. So this is the Master. He's using Uchi Katana. Yeah, I just died. So Uchi Katana is going to be the best, pretty much right off the bat, DEX weapon you can find. Now, since I last rested at a bonfire way back here, I'm going to have to run through again. And if you look at the top left, if you noticed earlier when we got an ember, it was like lit up, and now it's gone. So every time you die, if you are embered, you're gonna lose that. So unfortunately, we did lose it, but honestly, it's not really a huge deal. Just because right up here, I should have just gone in here earlier. This will be a lot faster to go into. Right in here is going to be the Firelink Shrine. So if you've played Dark Souls 1, it's gonna feel very similar. There's a guy sitting there every time. Played Dark Souls 2. She's very much like the Emerald Herald. She is a fire keeper.
Welcome to the bonfire, unkindled one.
And what she does, she just levels you up for the most part.
And tend to thee. The lords have left their thrones and must be delivered to them for this.
Now, since this is a walkthrough, I'm just gonna be, for the most part, just skipping through any kind of dialogue. I'm just gonna be telling you guys what the purpose of the people are, what they do, where they go, things like that. And if you guys have any recommendations, if you want to hear the dialogue, just let me know and I can just not skip it, if that's what you guys prefer. So, before I end this video, I'm going to go ahead and get my souls back, and I'm going to go ahead and kill the master for his Uchigatana. Now with the master, he cannot block. He can definitely parry. The thing with the Uchigatana is that one of your sword arts is a parry. And the other sword art is, you sheath the sword in your sword art, and then you strike with right trigger, and then you um, parry. See, that was a strike, and then you can parry with. Did it fall off? Sorry, I think you parry with right trigger. I'll have to use it, and then we'll check it out. And this is actually going to be my first time doing a specifically DEX build. Usually, right off the start of a game, for the most part, I will either go into... Okay. And my game crashed. Alright guys, well next time, I will have the Uchigatana. We're going to go ahead and try that out, and we're going to go on through into the really the first big area of Dark Souls 3. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys later.